This has Devils fans buzzing. The inevitable becoming clearer and clearer. Good news for New Jersey, little rougher for Vancouver to swallow. Implications, let's talk. Welcome, Devil fans. Glad you're here. Definitely want you sticking around. Season quickly approaching, so go ahead, hit the subscribe button, talking all things Devils hockey this season, because we'll be here all year long. So, don't know if you saw it, Luke Hughes has signed his extension. Yeah, number one priority, Tom Fitzgerald gets done. 7 years, $9 million extension. Don't know why this couldn't have been a July 12th thing. Had to wait till October. But the important thing is that it gets done. So we knew how important it was to keep Luke Hughes here long term. And obviously, it's going to drag attention from all around the hockey league. Because we know the rumors and what's been going on with the three brothers. Could they play together? Could they team up in New Jersey? And obviously, Vancouver's going to be asked about it. Asked about Quinn Hughes. Jim Rutherford came out and said, it might be not in our control. He wants to go play with his brothers. Well, 2 days before this extension, which was done today, came out, Jim Rutherford talked a little bit about it. Here's Canucks President of Hockey Operations, Jim Rutherford. We can run that decision out until the trade deadline. Not this trade deadline, but the year after. And still get a great return on him. But that's not what we're looking for. That's not what our goal is. Our goal is to have Quinn Hughes be a Vancouver Canuck for a long time. Okay. So, you guys know, when you have a friend who's in a toxic relationship, what do you tell him? You tell him to rip the Band-Aid off. It'll be fine. You'll get over it. But, you have to move on. You have to go do something else. And it will be. You'll be fine. Jim Rutherford needs that friend right now. Okay? With a Luke Hughes extension coming out and seeing Jack signed till 2030, now Luke signed until 2032. Seeing where it is right now and what they've said, what Jim Rutherford has said himself, what Quinn has thought. They're not bringing Quinn Hughes back. I mean, he's not re-signing in Vancouver. They can build a great team. They can make him the captain. They can make him the highest paid NHL defenseman. He's not coming back. He's leaving. You have 2 years to figure this out. If you're Vancouver, to find a way to make a trade. And if you are Jim Rutherford, I'd say you get ahead of it. I mean, other teams know. Now, will other teams put up good deals to trade for 2 years of Quinn Hughes? Yeah. Can they get a first-round pick in there? Yeah, they can. But when teams are looking at the situation going on here, I said it in the last video, when you trade first-round picks, you're usually looking future. You're usually looking to have this guy stay with you long-term. Now, we see it every single deadline. A first-round pick goes for a player, they leave in the offseason. But for the most part, you are looking long-term. You are seeing something there for them to stay with you. And when you're Vancouver, you know for sure Quinn Hughes is not staying with you. He's leaving at the end of these 2 years. I mean, it's been a rough year in Vancouver last year. His brothers are in New Jersey. He's up for a big payday. It doesn't seem like a situation where he wants to stay in. Oh, and they just fired their coach as well. They have a new head coach. It's a new regime there in Vancouver. I mean, they're just doing things different. They're on a completely different timeline than New Jersey. They're not really looking at contending for a Stanley Cup. I know Jim Rutherford came out there and said, it's about having the players in place, and they feel like they have a good team. But do they have the players to contend? Doesn't really feel that way. It doesn't seem like Vancouver is that type of team. And I mean, just that alone is a tough way to kind of sell a defenseman to stay. When you don't have a contending team, when, you're changing coaches again, and then you think about it, his brothers both are signed long-term on the same team elsewhere, and their team looks better. So it's a very hard sell. It's just not going to work out in Vancouver. Jim Rutherford needs someone to tell him, hey, it's time to rip the Band-Aid off. It's not going to work out here in Vancouver. So with all that being said, I went on and I made myself a mock trade. And I think this trade here gets it done for New Jersey. So it'll be Quinn Hughes coming over. You send in Simone Nemec, Dawson Mercer, Lenny Hemenyoa, and a 2026 first-round pick. Maybe Hemenyoa gets switched out for another first-round pick. If I'm New Jersey, I'm fine. I think if this trade got put on Jim Rutherford's desk tomorrow, I think he does it. Or, I mean, that would be the smartest thing for him to do, is to go ahead and do it. Because you look at the situation for New Jersey. If New Jersey really wants to, and Tom Fitzgerald feels comfortable with his job security, likes his team this year, he can wait 2 years. It'll happen in 2 years. If he wants to wait, if he says, you know what, I like to keep my assets, I feel good about this team, I like where we are, you know what, we don't need to go do this right now. We don't need to go send 4 things in our roster to go get Quinn Hughes right now. We can wait the 2 years, because that's what it is. It is 2 years. But those 2 years could be the difference of a Stanley Cup and not a Stanley Cup. When you have a situation where you can bring over a top 2 defenseman in the NHL, things change. You know, I know it would only be 2 extra years, but when you can bring over a top 2 defenseman in the NHL, all of a sudden, well, you know, maybe giving up 4 things is okay. And if I was Tom Fitzgerald, or, you know, if Tom Fitzgerald made this trade tomorrow, I'd be totally fine with it. Look, I like Dawson Mercer. I like Simone Nemec. I think Lenny Hemingway is turning out to be a much better prospect than a second-round pick. But I know Quinn Hughes is better than all 3 of them. And I know that having a first-round pick and putting that in for Quinn Hughes, that works. Any other team that trades for Quinn Hughes is putting in a first-round pick and more. So if you're New Jersey and you get an extra 2 years with Quinn Hughes, I mean, you're looking at Stanley Cup this year. I mean, go look how Florida looks right now. They're injured. Matthew Tkachuk out long-term. Alexander Barkov, we'll see if he plays this year. Your division, a lot weaker. You're no longer worrying about Pittsburgh. New York Rangers took a step back last year. Islanders picked first overall. You're not worrying as much. It's a weaker division. So when you can go out and make kind of a dominant statement and bringing in a Quinn Hughes, you might just basically put yourself in the conference final, just starting off. I mean, because you're better than Carolina at that point. Washington, we'll see where they are this year. Like I said, Pittsburgh, kind of out of the equation. New York Rangers took a step back. Columbus looks like they're on the way up, but still a little bit off. You basically put yourself in a conference final. And I think that you might even be the favorites, depending on who you play and what goes on in the season. It's a long season. I mean, you can't completely say, outright the favorites going to the Stanley Cup. I mean, that's not the NHL. But you put yourself in the best position for that. You put yourself in a position where you are easily, on paper, the best team in the division. Even giving up guys like Simone Nemec, Dawson Mercer, Lenny Hemingway, first-round pick, you're the best team on paper. And it's really not that close. I would say right now you could probably argue that they're the best team on paper, but you bring in a Quinn Hughes, top 2 defenseman, yeah, that changes a lot for basically any team out in the league. So, if you can make this trade, give up, a former second overall pick, a player who struggled his past 2 seasons, a prospect who you really like, but you have to give some of the value back, and a first round pick like any other team would have to do, you go ahead and do it. Because even if Quinn Hughes, wasn't going to re-sign, you'd still want him on your team for those 2 years. You'd still be okay with giving up a first round pick plus to bring Quinn Hughes over here for 2 years. Because you're in a situation where you're trying to contend. You're trying to win a Stanley Cup this year. You have the brothers. You're in a situation where it still makes sense. Now, is Quinn Hughes going to re-sign? Yes. I mean, like I said, if you want to wait the 2 years, if you feel more comfortable doing it that way, if you don't want to give up roster players, give up first-round picks, you can wait the 2 years. But if I saw this trade go through tomorrow, or by the time I get off this video even, I would be happy. It would work. Okay, this would be a trade that works for New Jersey. And on Vancouver's side, look, you don't have the leverage. I mean, you're looking to see what you can get. The whole entire league knows where he's signing. Okay? So it even hurts Vancouver even more. Everybody knows that this is a complete rental. This is 2 years. And if you're Jim Rutherford and you're looking at this, you'll start a bidding war either way. I mean, you don't have to wait till year 2 and see where you're at. You're starting a bidding war either way. You're starting a bidding war today, or you're starting it, 1.5, 2 years down the line. You're starting a bidding war either way. If he goes on the block tomorrow, teams will be lining up first round picks, prospects, you name it. I mean, teams would be lining up to do it. But the thing is, those teams also know everyone outside of New Jersey is getting 2 years of him. And they'll still go and trade for him. They'll still do it. But they're only getting 2 years. On New Jersey's side, you're in the long haul. You're 2 years on an 8-year contract extension. So, with New Jersey, look, Jim Rutherford has came out here and said he wants to play with his brothers. It could be out of his control. Like I said, he kind of probably just has to rip the Band-Aid off and realize that, yeah, it's going to happen with the Luke Hughes contract extension today. Quinn will be a Devil. It just is the question, does it happen now? Does it happen in 2 years? Do I want to see it happen tomorrow? Absolutely. Do I also think it's best for Vancouver to let it happen tomorrow? Absolutely. Don't continue in a toxic relationship. Don't continue in something you know is not going to work, because you know that it's not going to work long term. He's going to play for the Devils. He wants to play with his brothers. Devils have a better roster right now. It all just makes sense for Quinn Hughes, for Vancouver. Do it for the sake of Vancouver. Just know, probably going to a rebuild. New coach. We traded our, top 2 center on the team last year. Our other center had a problem last year. He's getting paid a lot of money. Just go into the rebuild. I mean, that's what makes sense. And I mean, the trade that I did put out does help Vancouver as well. I mean, they had a former 2nd overall pick, a player under 25 who scored 20 goals twice in this league. In the end, it does work for Vancouver. They don't want to be on that side of the trade, but like I said, you don't really have a choice at this point. So hopefully we see it go through. Let me know down in the comments. Throw some mock trades in there. Let me know down below, and hopefully hit the subscribe button, because Devils hockey a week away, or 8 days away. So 8 days away from Devils hockey. Let me know down in the comments, and hopefully hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys all really soon.